Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Has WWE wasted the long-awaited NXT invasion angle? We've tried to stay away from negativity, but, you know, this is the Raw go-home angle. There's going to be no more Raws for us to address this on after an incredibly hot start. It's just been a bit naff, hasn't it?
The problem started as soon as it became about Triple H. For me, because he's the one that's cutting all the promos. He's the one that is making all the challenges. He's the one who's saying, now you come to our house and you do this and the other. The NXT guys and girls haven't really been given the mic time to be able to do that. Like, there were no NXT promos on this show, even which is frustrating because you had that amazing start to it with Cole and Bryan, where in one night you made Adam Cole feel like the biggest deal in WWE. And then you cut, 4 weeks later, he's just in some segments, barely name-checked. And according to WrestleVote, the plan that WWE want to do is to put Triple H on Team NXT, which even more makes it about him.
And weirdly, for once, Triple H doesn't want that.
Because Triple H gets that you don't want him to be the focal point, you want the NXT talents to be the focal point.
This started midway through the show, Seth Rollins versus Andrade. But I think this is the way to make Seth cool again. You give him really good matches that go time. Seth Rollins was getting everyone to chant "Burn It Down."
Yeah.
They were into this match. It was a great structured match.
Because he started out with a mixed response. But he is so good at professional wrestling that he can get the crowd on his side. I don't want to say it's the best that Andrade's looked on the main roster because he's been there now for, nearly 2 years and is still yet to do anything of substance. But it did feel like this was leveling up Andrade.
Then Seth's outside, he's tuning up the band, "Burn It Down," and who should run in?
But the Lucha House Party ran in to cause the DQ.
Now, I know this isn't the NXT invasion, but it's all tied in. But they got in the ring and they're sort of surrounding Andrade, and it was sort of perfectly set up to be the, looks like we're going to attack him, but actually we're all together. But no, they just
attacked him as well. There was a weird thing in this where when I was watching this show, you got Seth and Andrade going like, that was a really good match. And Seth says, yeah, we'll do this again down the line. And I'm thinking, why don't you just do it now? You cleared the house of the invading force, so just restart the match now. You could have done.
If you're trying to get Seth over as a babyface, which they very much are, that's definitely the strategy here. They gave him so many cheap local sports team pops.
Yeah.
I'm in Boston.
This is a football team that I really like.
For
the Boston
Crabs.
Yes, the Boston Crabs.
Because they're famed for their crab defense.
That's the one, yeah. Got the ball in their hands and that.
Title of your sex tape.
Like, he was doing all the cheap pop stuff. And then to have him go out there and there be a non-finish and him not take the noble step, if he's like, I'll fight all comers, yeah, it's a big missed opportunity. So that kind of ties quite nicely into the last angle, the go-home angle for Raw at least, where it was Randy Orton and Ricochet versus the Viking Raiders. This was originally meant to be the Viking Raiders versus Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder for the tag team titles. Like, usually, Survivor Series means, hey everyone, you can't actually have any storyline progression for a pay-per-view cycle.
It's about brand loyalty now.
But what Randy and Ricochet have managed to do is actually have a storyline that makes sense with where we are in the WWE calendar year. But this was nothing, really. It was just an excuse to have SmackDown stars start brawling backstage. Then Randy has it won in the ring, and they run and they all start brawling. And then after all of that, here's the Raw team captain, Seth Rollins,
Eventually finally comes out, rah-rahing his way to the ring.
Leading from the back, like all great generals.
He's running Operation Human Shield.
Yeah. I mean, screw us for thinking it would be good, right? Because every NXT call-up has disappointed us quite heavily, I would argue. I can't think of a single one that worked. But this is the NXT invasion. Why isn't it a bigger deal?
Because I don't think they ever really cared.
Yeah.
Let's call a spade a spade. Let's be honest about this. If it wasn't for AEW, NXT would still be on the network.
Yeah.
Which means we wouldn't be doing this because they wouldn't have been able to tape all of the Raw invasion stuff or the SmackDown invasion stuff during the NXT pre-taped stuff. And so in that sense, I don't think they ever really cared about this as a way to put over NXT as a brand.
Why wouldn't you go, let's build them up on the main roster so we've got another really good brand, as opposed to the opposite way. Let's bring them up so we've actually opened up a kayfabe reason to send the real stars down.
And I don't like this whole it's brand loyalty stuff because it doesn't wash when a month later you're back to feuding again.
It's very lazy storytelling. NXT is going to have Raw and SmackDown stars, and it's going to be a surprise. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Wednesday's episode, but make no mistake about it. If Dynamite beats NXT again this week, this is a huge defeat for WWE. So this was in Boston. Becky Lynch opened the show quite fittingly because it was last year. I can't believe that's a year ago. Becky Lynch getting blooded by that Nia Jax
The man
punch.
was born.
That was the moment that really turned her into a megastar that lasted, 4 months.
That lasted at least 4 weeks.
Yeah, so Becky said that she doesn't give a bollocks about your brand supremacy.
Good.
I know, which is great promo, Becky. But then out came Charlotte, who cut a very heelish promo.
Yeah, she said
confused.
She doesn't want to tag with Becky either. But Flair said, I don't want to team with Becky. But somehow we keep being put together.
By, and this is a quote, forces. So we can't say authority figures.
Because we're the authority figures.
We can't say powers that be. But we can imply that there's some strong force or some gravity.
Universal forces.
Thermonuclear forces.
Are bringing them together.
Electromagnetic. They can't separate. So it's a plot hole. Anyway, Charlotte made Billy Kay tap in about a minute. I had this running gag in my review today. Caruso alert.
Caruso alert.
She was all over this show.
Well,
I'm not complaining. I love Caruso.
Well, she had a big announcement to make.
Talking to Seth Rollins, that's where they set up the Andrade match. Then
Well, this is when, because Charlie said, we're going to get a big announcement coming, so please stick around. And then they recapped the Lana Lashley segment. I was like, oh, okay, that's why they're telling people to stick around. Don't switch the channel, folks. I've got a big announcement coming up. Well, please stay watching.
The live crowd. This was the most into anything that wasn't actual wrestling.
Because they were so into the chant of Rusev Day. If everyone's still chanting it, you'd have brought it back and just have Rusev embrace Rusev Day again.
Bobby Lashley, Lana, they're laughing. Ha ha ha. Who are you going to have defeat us? Maybe Bobby Lashley gets a second. Rusev's out there. And then Aiden English walks in.
Yeah.
That could be nuclear.
That could really turn this around. He didn't want her to be part of Rusev Day.
Yeah.
You're right. It does all tie together.
So he faked the coming on and he tried to come on to her and stuff. But now he could say, no, this was always me. I was trying to protect you.
Yeah.
Bros.
It could work.
But anyway, this is still rubbish. Overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5 just because, honestly, the in-ring wrestling I thought was superb.
So good.
But everything else was actually very lacking.
When people have said to us throughout the year, would you like to see NXT be part of Survivor Series? I did say, and I'm trying not to be like on a high horse with I told you so, because I'm really not in that mold, but I did say at the time, I don't think anyone's going to enjoy it because there's no way that you can book NXT to be strong enough that people will get behind it and for them to win a lot, which is what I think what people really want. I think it started off so well on that SmackDown episode. And since then, it's just gone further and further and further downhill the less they care. WWE they're not good at invasion storylines.
So let's rattle through your super chats because there's a ton of them. David Weekly, Triple H to turn on NXT confirmed. Future NXT champion.
That's what you want over Mania weekend. It's Adam Cole versus Triple H.
I almost want that to happen so Triple H can have a picture with himself holding the NXT title. Pavi let Andy out of his cage. I know you guys are trying to judge WWE and AEW on the same scale, but honestly, can you even do that? NXT is the only one that can be on the AEW stand.
Well, enough with the AEW bias.
I totally agree. I think we've said it before. We judge AEW and New Japan and NXT with a different mindset to Raw and SmackDown and WWE pay-per-views. One's sports entertainment and the other one is more...
It's wrestling.
Swaft Daddy Johnny D. Ollie, you're wrong about the Boston Crabs. Boston is known for the crab people. I'm from Massachusetts, so I should know. Loved and miss you guys. I didn't put it together in my head that I said Boston Crab. That's where it came
I thought that's why you did it.
No.
I thought you were making a really good wrestling joke.
No. I didn't realize I did that.
You were thinking of crab people.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here. Go over to Screenstalker's Twitch channel. Just type in Screenstalker Twitch, and Laurie and Pete will be playing WWE 2K20 there. In the meantime, go and watch the WrestleTalk news and my Raw in about 4 minutes review that went up as a combo video earlier. Give it a like. Leave us some nice comments. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, and that was wrestling.